All right, welcome in everybody. We have a rare Monday morning edition, but that's because we are on coach's time. We are not talking to one of the players. We are talking to the man, the head coach of Mississippi State soccer, James Armstrong. How you doing today, James?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Big fan of the show.
I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of yours. One of the things that I tell people, it's one thing to watch your team have success, but having a daughter that went through five ID camps and watching how you and your team, Coach Zimmerman and the guys coach, I get to see up close how you work with the girls, and I'm a big fan to say the least.
Well, I appreciate that. Obviously, people come from near and far to come to our ID camps. And, yes, it is an identification portion, but it's a great opportunity for the players to work with college coaches and be around college players. But also for us to give back to the game and hopefully inspire some of those players to go on and do great things.
Yeah, I will say this. Y'all were very, the other camps they were all similar in the structure in the sense of the difficulty, but the way that y'all cheered them on in a positive way when they made mistakes makes y'all player coaches and my kind of coaches because my daughter's one that can get intimidated in that kind of environment, and so to see her make a mistake, and I remember specifically Coach Zimmerman telling her it was okay. And then on the next drill, she killed it. Because if a coach, kind of makes her feel bad, there's a chance, in that environment, she may shut down. And so to see positivity, constructive criticism done in the right way, that makes y'all my kind of coaches. But we'll get into all the coaching stuff in a minute. Let's start breaking the ice. Before you came on, talk to me about the Super Bowl food hangover. I think everybody's in a food coma this morning. So I ask, what is the most important Super Bowl food item for you? What do you have to have?
So I am blessed that I live on a cul-de-sac where everybody's a gourmet grill master. So yesterday we had a little bit of everything. There was ribs, there was burgers, there was sausage, great charcuterie board. But for me, I think the burgers, the way that our friends do it, the smash burgers, that was my go-to yesterday.
See, and you're like me. See, my host, he's been telling the guests that he's all about the snacks. Not so much a big portion meal, but you mentioned ribs and burgers, like, hey, bring it. You got it, let's go. So I'm good. It sounds like you feasted. Now I kind of got an idea of why you may be struggling this morning. But as far as the game, I don't know how big of an American football fan you are, but did you enjoy the game?
I'm a huge American football fan. I was in Austin, Texas, and one of my best friends started 3 years at the University of Texas as a center. So he got me into it. He took me to all of the games that I was available for, and then obviously was at Auburn. Got to experience, SEC football, and now blessed to be here at Mississippi State. And same thing, the cowbells and the tailgating. So big football fan. I wouldn't say that I know all of the plays and what's going on, but I know enough to get by. And I thought last night's game was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, I believe that is only the second time a Super Bowl has went to overtime. So anytime you have a good game to where it has to go to extra, yeah, you got the right matchup. So another sport I want to talk to you about on this icebreaker thing, I saw the ladies were at the women's basketball game. I love seeing Mississippi State athletes support other athletes. Let me ask, I've seen you support as well. Have you been able to get out and see the basketball teams and be able to support them like you'd like?
Yeah, I think there's a unique camaraderie between coaches here at Mississippi State that I think isn't found anywhere else, but also the student athletes. There's no egos. During the season, a lot of the coaches and student athletes came to support us. So it's important to us as a program to repay that. Chris Husher is one of my best friends. He came over from Auburn recently. He's just started his first season as the head coach of women's tennis. So I've been to all of those home games, men's tennis, a lot of international players that are soccer fans. And, we have a great rapport with them, both student athletes and coaches. And then my boy Sam Purcell, Coach Purcell. So him and I spend a lot of time together. So yeah, I was at the women's basketball game yesterday. Go to as many events as possible, just because there's great people. I think it's important to show them the support that they show us as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you really don't have to leave campus because there's always some type of sporting event or, maybe not even sporting, but, any kind of extracurricular to where there's always something going on in Starkville on campus. These student athletes, you talk about it. It's a good way to keep them busy, outside their academics, have fun, like you said, socialize with other student athletes. So I love it. But, let's get into it. Where are you originally from?
I'm from the northwest of England in a really small village, believe it or not, called Embsay, which is Embsay. It's in the middle of the Yorkshire countryside. It's about an hour away from Manchester and 45 minutes away from Liverpool. Those are the two big cities that people will have heard of on the show.
I got you. And as far as growing up family, you got brothers, sisters, mom, dad in the house. What we got?
Mum and dad, that's it. Only child. My dad was an only child. My mum came from a family with she had a twin sister and another sister, so they had lots of children. So I had a lot of cousins, but that was about it. I had one grandparent still alive when I was born, or at least when I can remember. So she was a big influence in me growing up because my dad was a lawyer and my mum was a flight attendant. So I had to spend a lot of time once school finished over at my grandma's house. So
I got you.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so you say a place like Manchester United, and it gives people an idea just saying those words. If they know soccer, they know where you come from is a highly competitive region of the world. And so growing up with soccer, just talk about what that's like because I know it's got to be completely different than it is here, Um, I don't even begin to know like what the recreational soccer scene would look like if you're a 4 or 5 year old wanting to play. Just talk to me about what it's like when you first want to play soccer, over there.
I mean, it's completely different. First off, practically everybody plays, right? I mean, if you're a boy or a girl growing up in England, you're going to at least try soccer. And then I think the other thing is it's not pay to play like it is over here, right? You got, regardless of whatever level of youth soccer you play, it's expensive, particularly when you include the travel portion of it. So in England, there's a lot more opportunities for people to play, and a lot of times you don't get a professional coach per se, but you've got a mom or a dad that know enough about the game to get you interested. And there's fields all over the place, in parks, etc. So there's lots of opportunities to go and just kick the ball around with your friends, and every school playground has got people playing soccer on it from start to finish. So from that standpoint, a lot more opportunities. And then I've been gone a long time, but for me, the recruitment process by professional clubs starts at a very, very early age, whereby you can join or not join, be invited to schools of excellencies. And then, I went to Bradford City Schools of Excellence when I was 9 years old. And then you kind of have to go through a recruitment process each year. You either get to stay on or get released. And then at 16 years old, you can sign a YTS form, which is basically where you go full time for 2 years, but get paid very minimum money from a contract. And then at 18 years old, to decide whether you're going to, be offered a full professional contract and start to make some money. So it's very cutthroat. Lots of different levels of play for both men and women. The semi-professional scene's a big part of that because there's obviously a lot of people that just don't make that grade, but can still make some decent money. Playing at that level.
Yeah, we had Shannon Cook from LSU on, and she talked about exactly what you're talking about. Like she said, her high school doesn't have a soccer team. It was strictly playing basically what you were talking about is almost like a professional league. And then she even spoke of why she came to LSU because she basically was told if she wanted to have a good opportunity to get some experience to be on the field, they recommended that she come to the States because they just didn't know that she would get the playing time that she was looking for. And now, if you fast forward, obviously she played at LSU and now she's back over there playing. But yeah, it's a whole different dynamic. It was exactly what you said. It's like professional level in a high school setting. I want to ask, like, no different than American sports, there's always that person that you're watching that is, an athletic great. And so in soccer, when you're growing up in England, like who's that person that like is must see for you? You grew up, wanting to be that soccer player kind of.
Roy Keane. Roy Keane for Manchester United was my favorite player growing up. I thought he could do everything. He was box to box midfield player, hard as nails, like Macy Hodge plays. She's the female equivalent of Roy Keane, but just him as a leader and how he carried himself on the field. I mean, he was the most competitive player that I think I ever saw play when I was growing up, and that's who I dreamed of being. Definitely didn't get there, but he inspired me the most out of that sense.
Yeah, players like that. So you mentioned Macy Hodge, and we're not going to get into Mississippi State just yet, but I gotta segue that to the players that do everything that maybe aren't talked about as much because typically Sports Center is going to show who scores the goals, right? Or they're going to show the goalie making the saves, but they're not going to show the person who's everywhere on the field all the time, like a Macy Hodge. And those are the girls that I tell my daughter to keep their eyes on, because those are my kind. I played center mid back in the day. I want someone who's going 100% up and down the field all the time, playing offensively, playing defensively. And I'm glad you brought up Macy Hodge because she's someone that people that don't watch Mississippi State soccer aren't going to know about because she's not going to make the highlight film. But she's integral to everything you do.
Absolutely, and every sport's got the skill players, right? You watch the Super Bowl last night, some of those O line people that do the blocks and those kind of things, they provide the opportunities for the more skillful players to do what they do. And, for us, the energy that the likes of Macy Hodge and Alana Izquierdo bring and Riley Combs, the so-called skilled players couldn't do what they do without the relentless work ethic and energy that those type of players bring.
Absolutely. So, I want to talk the Olympic development program. Came on in 2011, served as assistant coach for Region 3. It talks about you got to go to Germany, Italy, Costa Rica, Argentina. Just talk about that experience about getting to travel to all those different places and be a part of that development program.
Yeah, well, when I first came over here in 2003, I was actually equipment manager for the U19 women's national team, and I bring that up because the head coach Tracy Leone and also Karen Hopper, who was her assistant, they both ran the region at a given time. Tracy started it. I started with Tracy, and then when she passed it on to Karen, I stayed on. So I started ODP, geez Louise, probably in 2007, something like that. And in the old days before ECNL and Girls Academy, that was the thing to do in order to be seen by the national team scouts. You got the best players in your region that would always come from all the different states, and states like Mississippi and Louisiana that maybe were unfashionable states from a soccer standpoint. They developed some great talent that you would find at those ODP events. So it was the best of the best, and for me, I served my time as just a staff coach, and then got the call up to be an assistant for a while, and then ended up being a head coach. And yeah, like you said, went to Germany, went to Italy, went to Costa Rica, all as assistants, and then Argentina as well as an assistant. And then I got to take my own team to England as well. So it provided a great opportunity as a coach to go and play against international players and international coaches and schemes and things like that. But just to see the cultural experience with the players, that was the coolest part of it all. So yeah, it was a really awesome experience. And the only reason why I gave it up was Nick Zimmerman was actually my assistant when I took the job here for me at ODP. And so obviously two Mississippi State coaches they weren't going to allow. So he took it on from there, and he's been doing it ever since as a head coach. And COVID has kind of put a stop to it, and it's getting harder for the Olympic development program in terms of ECNL, etc. So, but he's fully enjoyed it as well, and he does a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm a big fan of his, and I do want to ask one more question because you talked about going to England on it. Coming full circle. How amazing is it when you get to take players over there, where you come from, and it comes all the way back around, and it just there's got to be some kind of feel of great accomplishment to then grow up there, but then bring a team there that you're coaching.
Yeah, we're actually taking Mississippi State on spring break to England for 10 days. So that's going to be the best part of it. You know, we've got 31 players on our roster right now that will be here for the fall. So it gives us a great chance to take them for team bonding. And, you know, hopefully we're going to play the likes of Chelsea, and we're going to play 3 games over there. We're going to watch 3 professional games, one of which will be a women's professional game, which I think is very important for the players to see that level and that environment. So I think that's going to be really neat to take our own group over there. We're going to take all of our staff members. There's going to be 47 of us total going. So it's going to be a lot, but super excited. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the English food and, you know, the atmosphere of an English Premier League game. So I'm really excited about it.
But you're doing exactly my favorite thing. You know, my favorite club coach that my daughter ever had, Seal Johnson, he was from Sierra Leone, and he used to make some parents unhappy because he would schedule tournaments where we were playing competition that was way better than us. He made it clear that we weren't going to win those tournaments. He wanted to see how his team could do. He said, I can't find out about the girls if they're just winning 5-0. However, I can find out who they are if they're down 3-0. And you know, parents didn't like that. They pay this money, they want to come home with medals. And I bring that up because you're going over there and talking about who they're going to play, and that's going to prepare you coming back to SEC to know what your girls have. How do they respond playing against the best of the best? And then also, like you said, going to watch. That's something that I've tried to hammer in my daughter. It's the reason why we go to Mississippi State games, Memphis games, Arkansas games. I want her to watch those on an elite level because there's so much you can learn from watching the game, especially in person. So what you're doing, coach, I love it. Like it's only, I mean, if you look at the strides that y'all are making as a program and then doing something like that, you said for team bonding, and then they get to go and, you know, sharpen and strengthen themselves against teams like that. It makes me feel really good about the expectations level. But before we get into Mississippi State, you know, Auburn, you know, we talk about the Macy Hodges maybe not getting enough recognition because midfield. Same thing with an assistant coach, but stats are stats, coach. And when you were at Auburn, NCAA tournament, made it 5 straight years, advanced the second round 4 times, made 2 trips to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight in 2016 in the time you were there. High success rate with you as an assistant coach. So just talk about, you know, what it was like being there in that Auburn program and what you were able to learn and bring to the table.
I mean, Karen Hopper is one of the all-time greats. Unbelievable mentor to me. You just have to look at her coaching tree. Matt Mott, who was at Ole Miss for a long time, is now the head coach at Oklahoma. You got Kadani McAlpine, obviously won a national championship at Southern Cal and has now won an SEC tournament championship at Georgia. You know, that's just 2 of them right there, and obviously myself. And so she gave me the opportunity, first college coaching job that I had after I knew her from the national team days. She let me do a lot of the soccer and the recruiting, and you know, it was a really neat staff. Ben Madsen's there; he was the other assistant coach. He's a great recruiter. So we had a really good vibe, and we were blessed to work with some really great players. And yeah, we had a lot of success. That first year there was a little bit of a tough one. You know, we just squeaked into the SEC tournament, but after that, it kind of took off and culminated in an Elite Eight, which, you know, for those people that are in it, making the NCAA tournament is really hard. And getting to something like the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, Elite Eight is really, really hard. So you have to look back on moments like that with a great sense of pride. And still very close to both Ben. I actually called him on the way into the show today. And Coach Hopper, still really close with those guys and got utmost respect for them and their program.
Yeah, because we're not going to talk about you know, Memphis or Arkansas, I can bring this up even though it's in the future in regards to what you're saying about the tournament. This year, I was looking forward to Memphis and Arkansas meeting in a rematch in the Sweet 16, a game that the previous season had went to PKs, and they
Yeah.
both got knocked off. And it talks, and it basically showed, because both of them were not supposed to lose, as you know. It shows the talent that is in that tournament. Any team that is in that field of 64 can beat you. And so that's why it's so hard to make, because there are no bad teams. There's no, you know, they got lucky type teams. They're all good, and that's why I love, you know, the NCAA tournament and the 64 teams in, because just like, you know, when you see the college basketball one, anyone can win. And so yeah, for you to make it to the Elite Eight, and and consistently, even to the second round, making the tournament, making it, really speaks volumes about what you and the coaching staff did at Auburn. The talent level you're bringing in there. So it ultimately leads, obviously, to the opportunity at Mississippi State. When you come to Mississippi State, the program is obviously not where it is now. So, what is your thought process? Are you taking this job because you're wanting to build up a program that is not known for, a winning culture, shall I say?
Well, it's a really good question. I think I was very happy at Auburn, as we talked about, and I got married in Auburn, had my little one, my little baby girl in Auburn. So I don't have an ego, so it wasn't like I had to be a head coach. But because of how well prepared Coach Hopper had made me, I knew that if there was the right opportunity at the right program, then I felt like I was ready for that step. So, Mississippi State had called me once before, and I wasn't really interested at that time. But in 2019, the last two seasons, Coach Anagnost had been here, and it had somewhat success, and you could tell that the program was starting to trend upwards slightly. So when they called, I was interested, and for me, it's all about who you work with and who you work for. So came on campus, really enjoyed the people that I met, and then Coach Zimmerman and I had talked about if one of us got the opportunity, we felt would be a really good fit for each other. And so I talked to him, and he said, "Look, yeah, if you get this job, I'd come with you." So it ticked all the boxes, and then thankfully my wife came here and really liked the community, which was the biggest part of it. And so we saw an opportunity that we couldn't pass up on. And, we're in the SEC. So we're recruiting in the same kind of footprint that I'd recruited in for a long time, and Coach Zimmerman had been aware of, obviously, at Columbus State. So from that standpoint, we just saw the chance to come and take over a program that was starting to trend upwards, but had never really had any success. So the only direction we could take it was upwards. And thankfully, through a lot of hard work and a global pandemic, we've managed to, I think, put ourselves in a better spot than we were when we took over.
Absolutely. So I want to read a couple quotes. There was numerous to choose from, and so I just picked a couple. But Colby Hale, Arkansas head coach, James is a great hire for MSU. He is a tireless recruiter and knows the SEC and what it takes to be successful in the best athletics conference in the country. I'm ecstatic for James and MSU. You also have Mark Krikorian from Florida State. He said James is one of the most talented young coaches in the country, and I think the opportunity for him to go into Mississippi State and be successful is very high. He'll combine a great work ethic with excellent player management. I think it's a great formula for Mississippi State. And like I said, there were numerous of these. So I think compliments from your peers are the best ones you can get. So how did it make you make that decision to go, and then you see your peers stand behind you, even though they're your competition, and say that you're the right man for the job? Does that just really make you feel good and solidify your decision to go to Mississippi State?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously cost me a lot of money for Mark and Colby to say those things. It's the last time Colby's ever said it, first and last time Colby's ever said anything nice about me. But yeah, I think when you're in this job, obviously you enjoy the respect from your peers, but you're too busy to keep track of what everybody else is doing and what everybody else thinks about you. All you can control is what your players think about you, what your staff thinks about you. I know I'm repeating myself, but I was blessed that as soon as we took over here, I had Coach Zimmerman, and then Coach Dunleavy arrived soon after that, and then Coach Stratton arrived soon after that, and I got Alyssa Delois that was my captain for 3 years. So this is definitely our program. So when people talk about us kindly now, I think everybody knows that I'm certainly not doing this by myself by any means, and that's why the most recent accolade, the coaching staff of the year in the Southeast region, that's the thing that I think gives us the most sense of pride, because it's not like the head coach of the year or anything like that. And so that's important to me. And I can't say enough about not just my coaching staff, but my support staff and administration, the support that they've given here. And really, at the end of the day, those are the opinions that matter the most. But yes, it did make me feel good that coaches that have had so much success. I mean, Mark Krikorian, I can't remember how many national championships he won, but we call him the Godfather because he literally is that. And then Colby Hale, obviously his success at Arkansas speaks for itself, and great coach, great person. So yeah, that did make me feel good at the time.
Yeah, my daughter is an LSU soccer fan. When the bracket came out this year, I said, "Well, no national championship for LSU," and she said, "Why you say that?" I said, "We're in Florida State's region. It's not happening." And
Yeah.
she's like, "You're the one that always says exactly what I just said to you a minute ago about any team has a chance." I was like, I don't know. Florida State's different." So
Yeah, they were the juggernaut this year, that's for sure. I mean, obviously we lost to Stanford, in the Sweet 16, and they came up against the buzzsaw. I think because I think Stanford were the second best team in it, but
mhm.
5-1 is just shows you how dominant Florida State were and could be for a few years to come.
Absolutely. Well, the things that have happened at Mississippi State, first of all, as a resident of Mississippi, I know how important, Mississippi State versus Ole Miss is. And so I will start with the Magnolia Cup. Winning it on a regular basis means more than people in this country know. You don't want to lose to them in anything. And so being regular winners of the Magnolia Cup is just the start of things y'all have accomplished. Obviously, making the tournament that first time, winning a tournament game that first time, and then this past season, making it to the Sweet 16. You obviously are recruiting at an extremely high level. You talk about how it's not just you, it's the whole coaching staff, but is this what you envisioned when you come here? Did you actually imagine it all going this well, like this successful, or is it higher than the expectations you even had?
It's definitely higher than the expectations I even had, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we reshaped our squad when we got here in 2019. Just they played a different style of soccer than what we were looking to play, and through nobody's fault, we just maybe didn't have the players that were built for that. So we had to free up some space on our roster to bring in those types of players. Well, then this thing called COVID hit, right, and shut us down for 16 months, where we couldn't go off campus or on camp or bring people on campus from a recruiting standpoint. So that slows things down significantly. And then for us, we like to think of ourselves as being good teachers, developing talent. And so losing the spring in 2020, that really hurt us. And then we actually lost the spring in 2021 as well because we had to play a meaningful season. So that really put the brakes on it a little bit. And then also, from my standpoint, the SEC has just got better and better and better since I took the job. So for us to have the success that we've had has been really pleasing, and I don't mind saying that we're probably ahead of schedule from where we even hoped we could be when we took this project on at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. And, you know, like you said, the expectation level, you just feel good with making the tournament in itself. And so to be winning multiple games, like you said, competing at such a high level in the SEC, and coming into this upcoming season, you talk about it's not just you as a coach. When you talk about bringing back your captains, when you talk about Matty Anderson, who you can make an easy case is the best goalie in the SEC. When you bring back a Macy Hodge, it makes your life easier as a coach, so much easier on top of the recruiting you're doing. And so that's why when I put out my projection for college teams and I said I think Mississippi State could win a championship this year, it was predicated on the fact that y'all have progressed each and every single year and you have your two best players coming back. And so how could I not feel some kind of way? And so I asked you as the coaching staff not to get ahead of yourself. I know you're humble. I know you don't think like that. But I mean, coming in, I've seen the recruiting that y'all have. I've seen the girls that are coming back. Do you feel as if this is a team that has a shot to win it all? I know we're not even close to the season yet, but just kind of asking you overall.
Absolutely. I mean, there'd be no point in doing this if we didn't believe that. But most importantly, in August before we started the season in 23, we had a little Colombian that was new to the team. Obviously, she was here in the spring. And I'm a big believer in that the team should set standards, goals, mission statement, etc. Right? And we as coaches hopefully have helped guide them what our expectations are through conversations through the spring. But Alana sat there and she might be the only one that could have said it at the time. She's a very quiet person. And she said, "Why not us?" And I know that's a huge cliche in this day and age, but she kind of spoke from the heart and said, I didn't come here to try and make the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament." She said, "I came here to win the SEC title, win the SEC tournament, win the national title." And everybody kind of looked around, and maybe there's maybe a smile or a laugh here and there, but all of a sudden it was clear that we had a group that were hell bent on doing something special. And then to your point, we returned 10 of our starting 11 from the last run that we had. And not only that, I think Ali Perry, who's one of our most special players, probably our most technical player, she wasn't at 100% in the fall. She is killing it right now. You just see it in the way that she's playing and training, and how fit she's got. Super excited about the difference that she can make from last year. And then Olivia Buxton is probably a name that not a lot of people know about, but Maggie Wadsworth, to your point a while back, she got all the accolades, scoring 9 goals, and unbelievable freshman year. But Olivia Buxton had just as good a year. She started every game she was available for as a freshman. And she was out all fall. She got injured against in our second exhibition game. So we get her back as well. We brought in 6 mid-year enrollees. They finished high school early, and they've settled in the fastest of any freshman class so far, on and off the field. And then we've brought in 4 transfers. So we have 10 new players, and we return everybody else. We've got a few players like Macy Hodge and Riley Combs that are a bit banged up still from the fall. So we've put together a heck of a schedule this spring. We'll play Alabama, we'll play LSU and Florida back to back, we'll play Memphis, and then obviously we've got the England games as well. So we're going to have a lot of players that get tried and tested in a tough environment. So yeah, we're going in the mindset of winning it all. Couldn't be more happy and positive with what we've seen so far. We're still in 8-hour weeks, and there's been no starting lineup picked yet, so everybody's in a good mood. But the transfer portal is good for us as well. We, some players that needed to move on, for playtime reasons, etc. They found a good home, and we've kind of brought in new players, new blood, and new energy, and there's a really good positive feel around the place. So super excited for the spring, and even more excited about the fall. But everything, you can go into the fall with the team that we have. A lot of it's going to come down to luck and how healthy you can stay, right? I mean, you look at last season, if we don't beat Miami with 2 goals in the last 2 minutes, who knows if we get a home game against Providence. We won some games that maybe we shouldn't have won, and lost some games that maybe we should have won. So how the ball rolls is a big part of it as well. And knock on wood, we can stay healthy, and anything can happen at that point.
Yeah, no, I used that Miami game as a teaching tool when it came to my daughter and soccer, because scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes shows that you're never out of it, and it's why you leave it all out there and put it on the line. That was an amazing game, and something that every coach should be using as instruction, or a parent that works with their kids. But you mentioned some of those teams, and that's why I think the value of you bringing 10 of 11 back, as someone who goes to Memphis, Alabama, Arkansas, LSU games, like I said, they're all losing so many players. Like, Memphis is losing basically Team Canada, as they got all of them departing. LSU, I think, lost 7, 8 seniors. The majority were starters. Same thing. Arkansas, they, and to show their talent, 3 of them went pro, and so I think it's such a luxury for you coming into the season, having all those girls back, the chemistry they have built, the talent they have had. And that's why I just think the sky is the limit, and I'm excited. And I was even going to ask you about who y'all were playing this spring, and you had brought it up. And so for those that are listening, when's do you happen to know right off the top when that first one is that they can go check out in Starkville?
Yeah, so hopefully it will come out today publicly, but we actually start off, I should have said this, with a back-to-back game against West Alabama and William Carey on February the 24th. Then we're going to play here in Starkville, and then we're going to play Alabama on March the 2nd, straight after the baseball game here in Starkville. And then we're going to play Florida and LSU, I think it's April the 6th, that Saturday in Pensacola at the complex there, at the SEC tournament.
Yeah, no, that'll be nice.
Memphis. So those are kind of the dates right now. Let me just the April game just to confirm it. Actually, I don't even have it in front of me, but I think it's April the 6th, whatever that Saturday date is.
Yeah, no, that's fine, and that'll be nice. I do have a question that you may not have an answer to. Seating at Mississippi State soccer. We gonna get some new bleacher sections put in? I mean, y'all are getting record attendance. I'm all for sitting in the grass, but coach, I turned 40 this year, and I don't get up and down as easy as I used to.
No, for sure. Zach Selman's been fantastic in terms of his support for us, our athletic director, and he's put together a master facilities plan that's in the works right now. So hopefully we'll know a little bit more here soon. We want to try and build obviously on the seating that we have for our fans, whilst at the same time trying to preserve some of that unique Mississippi State tailgating feel as well. And being allowed the children to run around and the dogs to run around and all that chaos. So, but yes, it's being addressed. And, thankfully for us, like I said, we've got administration support. So we'll wait and see what that looks like here once we get word back.
Yeah, and I do like the dogs. I do see everyone bring their dogs. My dog don't know how to act, so I still wouldn't be able to bring mine, but I do enjoy that
Same,
part.
same.
But
My dog hasn't been.
yeah, it would jump all over people and then I'd have to leave, and so we're good. But with that, coach, we're going to get into a game that we play with every guest called This or That. It's very simple. We give
Yep.
you two options. You choose one or the other. Can't say neither. Can't say both. Down to play.
Ready.
All right. This or That is brought to you by the Bellsmith. I have my Macy Hodge autograph bell. Get your player bell. You can get it from the Bellsmith on Instagram, Facebook, or you can head over to Maroon and Company in Starkville. I believe he has up to maybe 5 or 6 different soccer player bells. So go get your bell, support these girls through NIL. Also, as Maddie Anderson plugged on her episode, the Bulldog Initiative. So a lot of ways to help out these girls and the team. But with that, first question, coach, easy one out the gate. Chicken or beef tacos?
Beef tacos, no doubt.
All right, liquid or bar soap?
Liquid soap.
So I got to tell you what made me start this question, and it's actually caused a lot of drama and discussion, and it's why I've kept it on here. When I go to do my mohawk, if I use liquid soap, I can't get the glue off my hands. Bar soap is necessary. And so I looked it up, and liquid soap doesn't clean your hands 100%. And so I'm now a bar soap guy if I have it available because I want the full cleanliness, coach. I've become kind of like OCD on this. And I've actually had a few different athletes come on here that say it for the same reason. They say they use bar soap because they want to be able to fully clean their hands. So just so you know that ahead of time or go in the future, if you want to really get your hands clean, get that good bar soap.
Perfect. And if you need any recommendations for hair product for your mohawk, Coach Zimmerman's the man for that.
There you go. Well, what's funny is I have an elite hat collection, and I very rarely even sport it, which makes the whole thing funny. But it's something that I started with the Mississippi State baseball players back in 2021 with
Love it.
Tanner Allen. He did the
Yep.
Hawk, and I did it along with him, and just still have it.
Love
All
it.
right. So if you could choose one, going to a Mississippi State football game or a Mississippi State baseball game, which one are you going to?
Oh, gosh. That's a really tough one. I love the tailgating in the fall. I prefer football than baseball, to be perfectly honest. But not. I don't think there's much that can beat being at Duty Noble on a nice spring day at the left field lounge. So I'm gonna, if I have to choose, which I do, then I'm gonna go to a baseball game.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct answer. I have to argue with my LSU brethren all the time. They think Alex Box is the nicest stadium, and I have to quickly slam that down and tell them that there is no better stadium in the country than Duty Noble. As you say, the left field lounge. I mean, you can tailgate in the stadium. You can't do that anywhere else.
Correct. And I mean the just the smell of the stadium when you go up there with just all the grills and the smoke. Oh, it's special for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people this past season, I chose to go there over covering Tennessee Arkansas baseball, which was a top 5 matchup. And I end up getting the highest attendance crowd ever in college baseball and walk off by Dakota Jordan for a Mississippi State
Yep,
win. And I was like, there was never a doubt this was the place I had to be.
absolutely.
All right, so this one's an interesting one. I'm curious to see where you go on this. Do you like the black uniforms or the maroon uniforms better for the soccer team?
If I'm putting my political hat on, I should say maroon. But I'm a big believer in listening to what the players prefer. So the players prefer the black uniform over the maroon uniform, and we've had more success in the black uniform than the maroon. So I'm a
It
little
is
bit superstitious.
it is such an interesting dynamic, and it's the same way in baseball. So we've talked to your players, we've obviously talked to baseball players. They all like the black uniforms, but your traditional Mississippi State fans do not believe in doing something that isn't maroon involved. But I think that y'all's black uniforms is my favorite uniform in all of soccer. I love it.
Yeah, I
It's
do.
the reason why when the Bellsmith did the black and white little stripe on that bell, I thought it was a nice touch. And so yeah, like you said, the political answer, but I think ultimately, like you said, if you're winning in them, they're definitely right. But if it's what the players want, and Mississippi State baseball, if you notice, they did that. They had the all black Sunday blacks. They got rid of them because, like you said, politics. But notice they brought back a version of it because it's what the players wanted. So ultimately, if you want to recruit and keep guys coming here, might want to get them the uniforms that they got. And I like the new the icy white ones they got too. So.
Yeah, no,
uh,
it's true.
All right. Would you rather be lost in a jungle or trapped in a haunted house?
Lost in a jungle.
Coach, the tigers aren't caged in the jungle, right? I always tell them that the jungle seems cool until that real life snake and that tiger,
Yeah,
and there is
I
no
mean,
right answer.
I'm the biggest baby when it comes to mosquito bites as well, and I've got sweet English blood, so I'm going to change my answer to haunted house now that you said that.
Yeah, no, there is no right answer. This question last year was, would you rather fight a grizzly bear or a tiger? And you're not going to win
Oh,
either of those. And if you go
yeah,
into the jungle lost, or if you go into a haunted house, you're not coming out winning either of those either. So it's just always a fun question.
yeah.
Uh, would you rather own a private yacht or a private jet?
Private jet, just
Well,
because I think that's probably well, I don't know this, but I would think that a private jet is more expensive than a private yacht. So if I can afford a private jet, I might be able to fly to wherever I want
I was
and
thinking
then
private
hire.
jet for you with the amount of places that you go and the destinations you go all around Europe. That jet's really going to
It's
benefit
true.
you.
Amen to that. Yeah.
All right, last one. And speaking of money, the money question. All right, would you rather get a briefcase that contains $10 million or win a national championship this year as a head coach?
Win a national championship.
Yeah, I don't think you can put a price tag on it. I don't think there's no wrong answer in that question either. But we talked to so many. I actually did the math this morning. We've had 34 national championship athletes on here, and
Wow.
um, only two I think have said they would take the money, and hey, that's on them. But the rest say the memories along the way are irreplaceable, and I can only imagine for a coach because we've had all players, but you get to see the memories of it for all those girls along the way. So it's not even just for you. You get to the excitement you get to see on every single one of their faces, and to know what it means to all of them. I think it holds even more value than a player does.
For sure. There's a lot more people that can say they have $10 million than can say they're a national champion in something. So some things money just can't buy.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you are off the hot seat. Before I let you go, is there anything that we've missed that you want to plug or promote? I also would like to use this opportunity because usually we obviously get family growing up. You mentioned your family. Shout out who, for those who don't know, your family.
So my wife's Casey and my little one is Olivia Grace, and they obviously have to put up with a lot, particularly during season. The highs and lows. I would love to say that I'm somebody that doesn't take their work home with them, but that's not me. And then they put up with me being gone for most of the spring recruiting. So love both of them to bits, and couldn't do this without them for sure.
Absolutely. So shout out to them. Outside of that, is there anything we've missed that you'd like to plug or promote?
No, just hopefully we can continue to grow this fan base and continue to make this community proud. And got a great group of young ladies that are working hard. So please come and take a look at some of the new players that are going to get the opportunity this spring. And look forward to seeing everybody here soon. And Hail State.
Absolutely. Well, you heard Coach talk about the schedule that's coming up this February. If you go over to Hail State Soccer on Instagram or Twitter, their team is very good about putting information out. You will know when they're playing, who they're playing, and all that good stuff. They're amazing with their hype videos, giving you information. So check them out. But we want to thank Coach James Armstrong for joining us today. Coach, if there's anything we can do for you along the way, just let us know.
Likewise, thanks again.
Absolutely. If you like hearing James' story or you just like hearing Average Joe's talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor. As always, comments, hugs, loves, ratings, feedback, all that good stuff is welcome. We will see everyone back tonight. I will be with my host, Daniel Ball. We will have on national champion Nate Ackenhausen, Nasty Nate from LSU Baseball. But in the meantime, remember, strong bodies, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.